High school breakups, modern day Trojan horses, Civil War II electric boogaloo.
What's a boogaloo?
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Taboo Tater Tots Club podcast,
where we talk about anything that interests us, whether it be politics, civil war, or just general bullfuckery.
Today, we got a lot to talk about.
And I'm scared. Like, I am legit scared.
I am a little bit, but we live in buttfuck nowhere that nobody cares about, so I'm not horribly worried for ourselves.
Yeah.
But definitely for, our fellow man and our countrymen, it's getting dicey. But first,
what's a boogaloo?
A boogaloo. How have you been, Morgan?
You don't know the definition either, do you?
No, it's just it's just the name of a book that I don't even remember the whole title of the book. It's like a sequel to something, and it's like something to Electric Boogaloo. I don't remember what it is, but that's just the meme. Whenever there's a sequel to something, you say Electric Boogaloo.
I've always imagined it as like a terrorist-y act thing.
Boogaloo?
Yeah, but like in the name of good. So like good terrorism. Can you say that on YouTube?
There's a lot of things you can't say. I don't know, dude. They've actually changed a bit. Like they used to be able to it used to be a thing where you weren't supposed to swear or say anything sexual within the first 5 minutes, and I think now it's the first 10 minutes. But we only have 30 subscribers, 33 actually. Yeah.
I actually didn't hit the thing this time.
Yeah. So I don't give a fuck. Fuck shit tit ass cunt motherfucker.
Ow.
You did that time. How have you been, Morgan?
Life has been interesting.
Yeah.
My brother's girlfriend met my piece of shit father.
Oh, how did that go?
Not good.
Wow.
Wow. She basically, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but she basically said the same exact thing that I've been thinking for years.
Yeah?
He's a piece of shit.
I was going to say, what was it? Fuck that guy?
Just to summarize it, she said he was fake and he had like 3 different personalities and he was like passive aggressive the whole time towards her and just was not nice. And this was at a funeral.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. The funeral was on the 6th and I didn't go because I'm not welcome.
Oh.
But they can't control me visiting afterwards.
Can you say who it was? Who died?
My uncle.
Did you like him?
Anyways. That's a complicated question.
I see.
He was on drugs his entire life, or my entire life, in and out of jail.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know him until I got older. The last few years, he's really cleaned up his act, and he went kaput.
Okay.
So I don't know how to feel.
I see.
Because, like, he was doing good. He was doing good things for once.
Yeah.
And then he got kaputted.
Yeah, that happens a lot where somebody's, like, either sick or doing really bad, and then all of a sudden they do really good, and then they die.
I think it's all the years of drug use.
Yeah.
Weakened his heart. He died of a heart attack.
Oh.
And his heart decided one day that it had enough and went kaput.
My ex's grandmother had like 17 heart attacks.
Good for her.
Well, good for her that she survived so long, but like... And it was really funny because she was on oxygen and she still smoked cigarettes. And she's like, if the Lord doesn't want to take me now, I might as well keep on going.
I mean, yeah, but like... No!
During the 4 or 5 years that I knew her, that woman had at least 3 heart attacks. And, yeah.
911, what's your emergency? It's me. Hi, June, having another heart attack? Yeah, we'll be right there.
I can feel it coming. You fuckers better get here before I die. Oh, June, you're not gonna die. And it's weird because she didn't die of a heart attack. She kind of peacefully went away in her sleep. It wasn't like in the middle of the night or nothing. She was taking a nap, but like, she just stopped breathing.
I'm tired.
Basically, yeah. She laid down on the couch to take a nap. My now ex-wife was there with her, along with her mother. My ex-mother-in-law was there, and they were taking care of her grandpa for some reason. I think that was when he like broke his ankle, and she's like, "I'm gonna take a nap," and they're like, "Okay." And then here comes dinner, and they're like, "Hey, Grandma, wake up! It's time for dinner." Not breathing. Oh fuck! Grandma's dead.
About fucking time.
I mean, she was like 80 something, so like she had a good long life filled with literal heartache.
That's fucked. I love it.
And then her grandpa passed away a year later. I don't remember why. I think he passed away while we were separated, so I didn't get to go to his funeral, which I didn't
care.
Well, I didn't like him as much as I liked her grandma. Her grandma was super cool.
I mean, smoking while on oxygen?
No, this woman was so fucking cool. She was the first person over the age of like 60 or 70 that I had ever heard swear in my entire life. She called me... The first time I ever heard her swear was during a family dinner at my ex's parents' place. And we were all eating and laughing and having a good time, and her dad breaks out the whiskey, and he's sharing drinks and everything. We're all taking drinks, and I had 2 or 3, and I'm like, I gotta drive home. I better not have any more. And her grandma looked at me square in the face and said, "Take another shot, pussy." And I'm like, whoa! Like, damn, Grandma, okay. I'll take another shot just for you. She was fucking cool.
It sounds like it. But isn't it a thing where you're not supposed to smoke around oxygen tanks?
Yes.
Because they'll explode?
Possibility of them exploding, yes.
Okay.
Same reason why you're not supposed to smoke around gas pumps, because of the fumes.
Did you know the fumes are more flammable than the actual liquid?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Interesting, right?
That's why you're not supposed to pour gasoline on a fire straight from the jug. Because it climbs up and gets inside the gas tank and it can explode.
If you're going follow logic.
If you pour gasoline on an open fire,
yes,
from the actual jug,
yes,
because of the fumes,
yes,
the flames can climb up the stream of gas,
yes,
climb into the gas tank, can, and make it explode.
Yes.
Yes. That's why you're supposed, if you're going to put gasoline on a fire, you're supposed to put it in a cup.
I didn't do it smartly.
Okay.
I just poured it on.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I just learned that.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else new with you?
As I showed you and pretty much everyone else in my contacts, I soldered a thing.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took some wires and I took a AA battery, just a random ass AA battery that was sitting in the junk drawer. And I soldered it to a rumbler from a controller. And it did a spawn.
It's spinded.
Yeah, I'll put the video up here real quick. Wow, look at that.
Wow. Hopefully it's not horribly pixelated like when I got it.
Hopefully not, but probably.
Yeah. Because he sent the video to me over the phone, like through text. And it was so pixelated that it almost looked like one of those like LSD simulator things where everything's like, and then eyes are popping up all over the place. That's how bad it was pixelated. It was like,
really?
yeah, it was like 12 pixels. Like, not 1080p, just 10p.
10 pp.
Yes.
But I'm super proud of that. I'm getting better at soldering, and the nice thing is it didn't catch on fire.
Yeah.
Which the last time I soldered something to a battery,
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Nick? You've got news.
Yes, I have autism and it's terminal. I have 2 weeks to live.
Welcome to the family.
I'm just
Wait,
kidding.
what?
No. So I went and did my evaluation. I would assume that I had some sort of autism or OCD, mixed with a little bit of ADHD, but I was so wrong. They said that I had some symptoms related to ADHD, and that some ADHD medication could help. He said that I could give it a try, which I see my regular doctor in 2 weeks anyway, which is good. And,
I just saw mine.
Cool.
As you know, I sent you the picture of the
the
Batman
doctor's
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually real quick. There's a doctor's office near us that has like superheroes on the wall, and I just remembered like not too long ago, a little bit after you sent me that picture. That's the same doctor that my grandparents go see.
Really?
Yes, at least the same office that they go to.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I remember them telling me a couple of times they're like, oh yeah, they have Captain Batarang or Captain Super Spider on their walls, and I'm like, Grandpa, what the fuck?
The only one I've seen so far is the Batman one, and
Yeah, it's probably just the one, but they said that there's like 2 of them, but I don't know if there is or not. But yeah, ADHD medication could help. I do want to try it, and they said if it helps, great. If not, stop taking it.
I feel like that goes without saying.
Well, yeah. Something that I absolutely knew, but didn't know that it was a learning disability was that I'm bad at math. So bad at math that they said that I have the mathematical processing power of a 5th grader.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Which I think it's lower than that, and they said 5th grade to make me feel better because there were 20 questions. There were like some questions that for math problems, some questions, vocabulary questions, some like there was a spelling test and everything, which I scored higher than average on my vocabulary and linguistic skills, which because probably I should have known that because I hate it when people use words wrong or don't use proper punctuation and capitalization and stuff. It really pisses me off when people do that. So I'm like, well, I would assume that that's like one of my stronger suits. But no, there was like 20 questions of math, and I literally only got 6 right. And I only completed 8. They're like, if you come across a question that you can't answer, just skip it. So I only completed 8 of them and only got 6 right.
I would have just been making up hieroglyphics.
No. But the thing that really surprised me, and now that I've had time to process it, it absolutely makes sense. Is that he described it as borderline personality disorder. He said I kind of have symptoms related to BPD, but not enough to give like an actual diagnosis for it. And some common symptoms include antisocial behavior, check. Compulsive behavior,
Check.
Hostility,
Check.
kind of a little bit sometimes. Impulsivity, check.
Check.
Irritability, check.
Yeah.
Risk-taking behaviors, including spending sprees or taking illicit substances, check.
Check.
Self-destructive behavior, check. Self-harm, not anymore, but it used to be a check. Social isolation, check.
Check, yeah.
Or lack of restraint, sometimes check.
What does that mean, lack of restraint?
Like you can't hold back doing something that you really want to do.
Oh, okay. Check.
Distorted self-image, check.
What
Grandiose.
does that mean? Distorted.
Like with me, that probably manifests as my dysphoria, probably.
Oh. So you're a brain woman.
Only sometimes.
I'm sorry.
Unstable moods, behaviors, and difficulty with interpersonal relationships.
Check.
Check, and kind of check. I'm really good at intimate relationships. It's just any other relationships I'm not horribly great at.
You can keep your intimate ass over there.
And the thing that really seals the deal with me, which is I thought was a trait of autism, is that sometimes I'll say something and I don't understand how I say it. Like for a really good example, the last time I saw my Uncle Al, he and that's just a nickname. I had bought a bunch of fried chicken and like coleslaw and potato salad and stuff for a dinner, and he said, "Hey, let me help you with that." And I meant to say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't you dare pull out that wallet." But I said it a little bit more aggressively than I meant to say it, and he kind of looked at me like, and I felt so terrible.
I thought you were going to talk about the other incident.
The other incident?
Like, and I'll cut this out if this is something you don't want said.
Okay.
But the whole, why don't you live with your wife or something like that?
Oh!
Is that okay to bring up, or?
Yeah, that's not exactly what I said. Because it was something to do, because, just super quick, my Uncle Al and my aunt, I'm not going to say her name, they've
Gloria.
been, sure, they've been separated and together, and this recent time that they've been separated, I guess it's permanent, and I'm like, they're going to be back together again. So, first time I saw him since he's been back from Boise, because they were living in Boise together. I asked her like, "Oh, where's Aunt Gloria?" Whatever, and he's like, "Oh, well, she's still in Boise." I'm like, "Oh, are you guys separated again?" And he's just like, "Yeah," and I just felt like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that."
I'm not gonna lie, the way you described it to me originally was so much more funny.
Yeah, I just don't remember the exact details of what happened, but that
something along the lines of like, why don't you live with your wife?
Something like that. I don't remember, but that kind of feeds into the antisocial behavior aspect of it, and also the impulsivity, I suppose.
And just being a dumbass.
Yeah. But the thing that really gets me, and I haven't described a whole lot of how my dad was on this
I've been
podcast.
waiting for this.
I haven't described a whole lot, and I don't really want to. Not at this point, anyway. But I'm just gonna put it out there that if I kind of have BPD, maybe, which I want to reiterate, I didn't know that this was a spectrum thing that you could kind of have it. I thought it was just
It is?
you have it or you don't.
It is?
Well, obviously, if I kind of have it.
I just didn't know it was a spectrum.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a spectrum, but it's the closest word that I can come up with. Anyway, if I kind of have it, then my dad definitely fucking had it. Because I never really thought that I could have anything BPD related, but now that I know that I do, like my dad got the shit beat out of him with the BPD stick.
Wait, he lived in Boise?
No. Why would you say that?
Boise Police Department.
Oh.
BPD stick.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
He got the shit beat out of him with the PPD stick.
Yeah.
I thought that was clever.
Anyway, yeah, it's just brought, and I just barely found this out maybe 5 hours ago. Yeah, it was.
Did you text me right away?
It was like half an hour after I got the call.
Okay.
Because I got the call a little bit before 1:30, and it's almost 5:30 now.
You texted me at 1:52,
Yeah.
and it is 5:27.
Yeah. So a bit under 5 hours ago. And just processing that information and putting not only my own actions, but also my dad's actions in that light. So much makes sense.
I just want to state that my response of interesting wasn't because like I didn't care or anything like that.
Oh, I know.
I just wanted to save any comments I had for podcast time.
So now that you know that, go ahead and talk shit.
Ha, you have brain ill.
Brain ill?
You have stinky sock syndrome.
Stinky sock syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stinky.
The kind of funny part about all of this is that my wife also got evaluated because she was...
did she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because she was diagnosed with ADHD when she was a kid. I think she said like maybe 11 or 12.
I could see that.
She doesn't have ADHD.
She has the autism.
No.
Oh.
She is completely, in that regard, neurotypical.
Wow, I've never heard anyone else use that word.
Okay.
Neurotypical.
Yeah.
It's a very obscure word.
Not really anymore. Anyway.
Well, fuck you.
Anyway, but what she does have is severe PTSD.
Well, that's not a surprise.
No, it's not. They said that she has some ADHD traits, but not enough for a diagnosis and not enough to be really prescribed any kind of medication. They said that if she really wants to try medication, that she can, but she doesn't have problems focusing in general like I do, I guess. But it's more of the long-term overtime focus that she lacks, I guess, is how she described it to me.
So she also has the brain ill.
Not really, kind of. Only kind of. But as far as diagnoses go, she is on paper completely neurotypical. Because PTSD isn't a mental disorder. It's a I don't remember the word that they used. Affliction, I think, which is different.
No, it is absolutely a disorder.
No, because disorders are usually you are born with a disorder or it develops over time. I think the way that they described it is that an affliction is something that happens to you, like PTSD. An outside event happens, and then you get the PTSD.
You act like it's a fucking menu item at like Subway or something. Yeah, can I get the PTSD, please?
What?
I don't know, it's the way you kept saying it made me think about that.
Okay.
But what does PTSD stand for, Nick?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Precisely, it's not PTSA.
Yeah.
So therefore, dumb.
What was I saying?
PTSD
Uh-huh.
is an affliction.
Is not what?
A disorder. When it's literally in the name.
It's just the way that they described it was really weird. That it's not. I don't remember the exact words, but it's not the way that they classify neuroatypical people. That she would be considered neurotypical, even though she has severe PTSD. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. It's just the way that Alex described it to me.
I blame Trump.
Yeah, probably. But she was like, well, how come I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid? And they said, well, assessment criteria changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
like, I've had people try to tell me that I don't have autism.
No, you do.
I am well fucking aware,
Yeah.
but also fuck you.
Yeah. Other than that, this week's upload schedule is going to be a little fucky because a couple of videos that we tried to edit and upload got corrupted for some reason, and I think it might be because we tried to export them directly onto the SSD instead of onto the computer to try and save space, and that might be why it's corrupting. So hopefully...
So OBS is set now to record to the computer, and then Shotcut, the editor we use, is set to export directly to the SSD.
Right. Yeah, hopefully that'll fix things. So, unfortunately, I lost episode 1 of Jedi Survivor, which I can redo easily. But I also lost 2 episodes of Mass Effect 1, which super sucks because I really need to start like saving in different save spots because I keep on overwriting the same spot, and obviously that's no good. But yeah, other than that,
I blame Trump.
yeah.
Wow, what a segue.
What a segue! First of all, something that has nothing to do with Trump. Just to get it out of the way. Do you know what a Trojan horse is?
Does a bat shit out of its ass? Do bats even have asses?
I think they have cloacas.
Does a bat shit out of its cloaca?
Maybe.
Okay, does a deer shit in the woods?
Maybe. What is a Trojan horse?
Yes, I do. It's a fake horse.
And
it hides, well, in the, I believe it was the Roman Empire, it was a giant wooden horse that held soldiers, and they were like rolled in to the enemy
you get the gist
place and stabbed everyone, and
yeah,
that's history for you.
yeah.
Humans are good at killing each other.
Yeah. So, Ukraine had its own Trojan horse the past week or two. They had I think what happened was they commandeered a supply truck from the Russians. And they filled them with unmanned drones. And they let the supply truck roll into a military base. And as these people were, quote, unloading the supply truck, all these drones came out and bombed strategic placements in the military base. And now every single road, every single bridge, every single port of entry in Russia is now being looked over with a fine-tooth comb, and Putin is very paranoid.
Don't fuck with the quiet people.
Yeah.
Because before Russia invaded Ukraine, you never heard about them. They were just doing their thing.
Besides Chernobyl, yes.
Yeah, well, Russia had a hand in that too, so.
Yes. Because Ukraine was part of the USSR.
The point I'm making is don't fuck with the quiet kid.
Sure.
Because he'll pull a gun.
So,
or in this case,
drones.
Drones, yeah.
That was just a really quick thing that I wanted to mention that was kind of cool. Which was kind of funny because I found out by being at the youth ranch, which is a thrift store, and being in line behind some lady talking about it with the cashier, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I looked it up and I'm like, holy shit.
Trojan hearse in the 21st century.
Yeah, she said something about kamikaze drones inside of a Trojan horse truck. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
But for the main topic for today...
we have only one main topic?
Yeah, because the two kind of bleed into each other.
I know, but...
The conspiracy is that the two are related. Which is the first one.
And then the fourth?
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, Trump and Elon broke up.
Yes, and it is glorious.
This all started when... I mean, it's theorized that it started. When Elon Musk... It came out that he has been high as fucking balls on ketamine and other illicit substances during the entire time that he endorsed Trump. So much so that he is now incontinent, so he is pissing himself. This most likely happened, and this is just my theory, my game theory, that that somebody in Doge or the White House staff or something like that found him with a needle sticking out of his arm in the White House bathroom and was like, hey, you need to resign because nobody likes you, or else I'm going to leak this to the press. So what did Elon do? He quit. I think he still had like over 60 days in his contract to be with Doge, but he quit. And then shortly after he quit, they went and leaked it to the press anyway. That's probably what happened. That's my headcanon. So that resulted in Elon throwing a fucking fit. Either that or he got sober. Sober enough to realize, what have I done with my life? What happened was he... well, first, Trump tried to push this big, beautiful bill. Things that were in this bill. Tax cuts for the rich. Cutting Medicaid. Other bullshit, I am sure. But also... what was the main contention of that? Let me actually look that up so I don't get it wrong. What was in the big beautiful bill? Reducing tax rates for corporations and individuals, increasing the standard deduction and family tax credits, eliminating personal exemptions, and making it less beneficial to itemize deductions, yada yada yada. Basically, the big thing is that not a whole lot of people liked what was in it. So much so that after the Republicans, like majority of Republicans and even some Democrats, voted yes on this bill, they were like, if we would have known what was actually in this bill, we wouldn't have voted yes on it. Which you might think, well, why didn't they read the bill before they voted? Because for some fuck off reason, they came together at like 2 o'clock in the morning DC time to vote on it. They were all woken up out of bed and like, hey, we need to vote on this right now. Why? Because Trump knew that if it was read and people understood what was in it, they would have voted no. One of the major people who did not like this bill was Elon Musk. And he was quiet about it for a while until this whole breakup happened. He started speaking out against the bill, saying that it's never going to stand in the House, because I think they voted on it first in Congress. And started calling Trump like disgusting for trying to push it so late in the night so that people wouldn't see what was actually in it, and so it wasn't televised on TV. Duh. And then, because he was criticizing Trump was saying things like, "Oh well, maybe one of the ways that we can get rid of government spending and spending abuse is by cutting all of SpaceX's contracts." And they just got into a general shit fit. I don't know exactly how many tweets were launched back and forth at each other.
A lot.
Probably a lot. But the biggest nuke to drop was that Elon said that he can confirm that Trump was on the Epstein flight log list. Which, you know, Trump was all like, oh, I always just stayed on the plane and I never got off or whatever. Like, you can't fucking prove that. Because they refused to release the Epstein files. And it was really funny because the head of the FBI, who is in charge with national security and conspiracies and domestic threats and things like that, he was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast when that tweet got released, and Joe Rogan asked him about it, and the director of the FBI, again, someone who should have his hands and eyes all over this, said, that is not my lane. I don't know anything about that. What in the goddamn fuck? So the reason why that this event may have something to do with the LA riots going on right now. And it's not just in LA anymore, by the way.
I was about to bring that up. It's in New York, Chicago,
Detroit, Austin, Dallas.
Those last two really surprised me.
The Dallas one's just started. It's been in Austin for 2 days now. It doesn't really surprise me because Austin's a pretty progressive area.
Well, compared to like Detroit.
Well, yeah, they say that Austin is like the bluest area in the South. The reason why people say that these two things are related is because
one, the timing.
Well, yes. Because they think that because people are back on the train of investigating the Epstein files against Trump needs something to distract people with. So what happened was, and this is all
speculation.
No, this is all fact.
Oh.
I am not going to add any speculation, and if I do, I'm going to mention that it's speculation, but what I'm going to tell you now is all fact. What happened is that Homan, I think, the head of the military, I don't remember the position's name. His name was Homan. he said, why aren't ICE's numbers as high as we need them to be? Start raiding like Home Depot parking lots. And that's what ICE has been doing. They've been raiding Home Depot and Lowe's parking lots. And people in LA, I think what specifically started it was that they were raiding like little mom and pop shops on the street and like local businesses and stuff in broad daylight. And ICE doesn't wear name badges, and they wear masks. And people are like, who the fuck are these people? Are they actually ICE? Are they just random people trying to do vigilante justice? Who the fuck are they? We don't know. And so they started protesting. And they were peaceful. There was no violence going around, no rock throwing, no nothing at first.
That's how it usually starts at first.
Yeah. And then LAPD started coming out and started trying to, protect businesses, protect federal buildings, protect...
do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, protect ICE agents doing their jobs.
Okay, that part, debatable.
Yeah.
But the boots on the ground were doing what they are supposed to be doing.
Yes. And they were doing a pretty good job at it. They were ruffling some feathers. They were being a little bit too pushy. And they were threatening, beanbag launchers and rubber bullets, but they weren't doing anything yet. That's day one. I believe day two, they were starting to actually use the beanbag launchers and the rubber bullets, but they were using them as protocol dictated, which protocol dictates with rubber bullets, you're supposed to shoot at the feet and let it ricochet and hit them in the knees or something like that to bring them down so that you can pin them and put cuffs on and everything. But nobody was arrested. They were getting shot at, but they weren't getting shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were trying to do crowd control, riot control.
Yes.
Day three is when cars started being lit on fire and people were starting to huck rocks and bricks and stuff. And they were at first, the protesters were only at first targeting ICE agents and ICE vehicles. And, as their job dictates, the LAPD were protecting these agents.
Which is a shitty situation, honestly.
Yeah.
But
they were just doing their jobs.
You don't have to agree with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But you got to follow what your higher-ups say.
Yeah. This is the point where they started using actual tear gas, and they were actually aiming at people and shooting them with rubber bullets in the chest, in the stomach, in the head, wherever. This was the day that an Australian woman with the Australian news organization, I don't remember what it was called, was shot by police also. The video, which was, live streamed on Australia's national television, there was a cop standing there with his gun, and another cop leaned over and pointed at her, and that dude turned, aimed, and fired at her. She was just standing there reporting the news. That was LAPD. The fourth day is that was the same day that Trump threatened to call in the National Guard. Day 4 is when the National Guard arrived. Trump said 2,000 armed National Guard members would be there. Only 300 showed up, which is hilarious. And you know what's funny? The majority of these people that are part of the LAPD and part of the National Guard that were there, the majority of these people were Hispanic.
And quite frankly, none of them probably wanted to be there.
Probably Most of
Probably
them.
98% of them did not want to be there.
Yeah. The 4th
I'm-
day is when they showed up.
I mean, riot gear alone is heavy, it's hot, it's uncomfortable, but having to wear it day after day after day.
And it's the start of summer, and it's
in LA,
LA.
Not to mention.
Yeah.
It would have had to have been miserable.
Yeah.
And then having to deal with the fact that there's this huge ass crowd that you don't know if they're gonna, pull some shit.
Yeah. So 4th day, National Guard shows up. Trump threatens to put U.S. Marines on U.S. soil to handle these crowds, which is extremely illegal. Also, just having the National Guard there without the consent of either the mayor or the governor of California and LA is also illegal. The president isn't supposed to be able to do that without their consent. They did not have their consent. Therefore, the state of California is suing Donald Trump, his administration, whatever.
Well, as long as they're not suing the people that were there.
No, of course not.
Because that would be fucked.
Yeah. So he threatened to put Marine boots on the ground that night, the 4th night, which would have been the day before. They released that since they don't have the permission from the governor or the mayor, that the National Guard can't really do anything except protect federal buildings.
Right.
So they're just standing around like the federal buildings just doing nothing, because that's not where the protests are. And they literally do not have any budget to house food or water these people, so they're kind of just sitting on the floors of gymnasiums and stuff and just kind of hoping somebody will feed them. They have been fed already. They've pulled emergency budgets and stuff. But the first day they were there, they were basically starving and
cranky.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine it wouldn't be much better for LAPD.
Yeah. That night, there was a very specific live stream that has become very famous, showing LAPD smashing up their own cars and setting fire to other vehicles themselves to make it look like the rioters are more violent than they are. The rioters, quote unquote rioters, they themselves have been seen. The only violent things that they have been doing is they set one self-driving car on fire.
It would have done it itself eventually.
That was proven. I'm only going by what has been proven. And they only, for like an hour, hucked bricks and rocks at ICE vehicles just the one time. Other than that, again, people have shown that LAPD and ICE and everything else, they've been damaging and destroying their own property to make it look like these riots are more violent than they actually are. The 5th day, the Marines landed, and they, just like the National Guard, are just standing around doing fucking nothing because they legally, federally can't do anything.
I think that was me. Yep.
So the 5th day was yesterday. That was when Trump said that during his military/birthday parade, if anybody protests, that they're going to be met with big force. Which, there's going to be, if it's a military parade, most likely what's going to happen is that there's going to be tanks rolling down the street. And if that happens, and if there's protests at that event, we could very well see Tiananmen Square 2, where people in China, were protesting communist regime, and the tanks just rolled over people and killed them. There is a greater than 0% chance that will happen. Um, I am scared that as soon as it doesn't matter if it's police, if it's the National Guard or Marines or whoever else, the second that civilian blood is shed, we're going to have a civil war. That's what I'm afraid of. And I know that it's not going to touch us here in southern Idaho. It most likely will not happen. It might happen in the more liberal areas of Idaho, like Coeur d'Alene and Boise and Lewiston and a couple other bigger cities, but it definitely won't affect us here. But if there is actual physical violence where civilians are taking up arms against authorities with their arms, that we could see the Insurrection Act be activated and martial law across America happen. That could affect us.
Yeah. But it's also one of those things where you have to remember there was an American driving that tank.
Yeah.
It's up to the American whether or not he wants to run over another American with said tank.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be ordered to do something. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to follow it.
Exactly. Soldiers, no matter where they are, they don't just have the right, but it says in their oaths that they take when they join the military that they have the duty to reject unlawful orders.
Yeah.
They can be court-martialed for it. They can be tried for it.
But they cannot be charged.
Well, no, they can be charged, but like I said, it will be litigated. Like, was this a lawful order? Was this not? They can be locked up. They can be charged, but it doesn't mean that they're going to go for jail for good because of that. Because it will be litigated. That's what a court-martial is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they have a duty to reject unlawful orders. And firing upon or ruling over American citizens is unlawful. It is unjust. It is immoral.
It is as unlawful as it gets in America.
I mean, just having Marines and National Guard, well, Marines more so, but also National Guard in a U.S. city standing guard without the governor or the mayor's consent, that's already unlawful. But them doing anything violent against a U.S. citizen is so illegal.
Like, it
so
is
incredibly fucked up.
like, here's the fucking guarding a building.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the fucking
Yeah.
harming a civilian.
Yeah. And the thing that gets me, right?
And the funny thing is, Trump probably thinks if we do go to civil war, the government will win.
Oh, absolutely. Because he's got everyone around him so brainwashed that he thinks that the military is going to do everything and anything that he says to do.
When the reality is...
In reality, there are hopefully a decent 50% of these people in the military, active military duty, who will not do a single fucking thing that he tells them to.
Yeah. But you also got to remember, we got rednecks.
Yeah. But I mean, just if the National Guard that's there already is anything to go by, he ordered 2,000 people to go. Only 300 showed up.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. And he also ordered 500 Marines to go. And I think only like 90 of them showed up.
And I guarantee you, they were just on a base somewhere. And
oh, yeah. I think it's called like National Palms Base or something like that.
And some fucking sergeant or something walked up and was like, you're going. And it's like...
And half of them were like, nah. He's like, fair enough.
No, I don't think the ones that were there wanted to be there.
No, absolutely not. No.
So, I don't know. It will be interesting. It's scary.
Absolutely is. There are people out there who say that this is a consolidation of power. that Trump wants escalations and tensions to rise for the express purpose of gaining more power. And that could possibly be it. But I honest to God think that he's just lashing out, that he's angry, that things aren't going his way. I think you heard earlier, I was listening to a bunch of TikToks, and one of them said that only 60 some odd percent of the executive orders that he's signed since he's gotten to office the second time have actually not been struck down by the courts. So that already is barely a passing grade if you're grading him as if he's in high school, which you should.
No, that's too mature for him.
Yeah. I
did a funny.
The thing that gets me is Future Morgan put up a thing that's like, Nick rants about religion. The thing that really gets me is that overwhelmingly Trump got the evangelical or religious vote, right? Nothing that Trump is doing is Christian. Nothing that these MAGA people support are Christian. 90% of people that I see online who are really hard, crazy MAGA people say that they're Christian. But what ICE is doing, all of the mass deportations, all of the Medicare and welfare funding cuts, all of the education cuts, all of everything that Trump is trying to do right now, none of it is Christian. And if Jesus was alive today, he would flip your table. Because Jesus himself said that when you feed the hungry, you feed me. When you give water to the thirsty, you give water to me.
He also said, ow.
When you clothe the cold, you clothe me. And when you welcome the stranger into your home, you welcome me into your home. And that right there is the exact opposite of what these people believe. What these so-called Christians, people who believe in the Bible, quote unquote, that's the exact opposite of how they're acting. They don't want to feed or clothe the homeless or bring in the stranger. It even says in the Bible, don't remember what verse it is, but it says, welcome the alien into your land because you were once an alien in the land of Egypt. Talking about the Israelites. And it righteously makes me mad because I'm out here living paycheck to paycheck, living off of less than $2,000 a month, maybe a little bit more, but having to pay over $1,000 in rent, having to pay over $1,000 in food every month, having to pay $1,000 in gas and insurance on my car and this and that and the other thing, and I still help out Morgan when he needs help with food. I still try and buy people stuff at the dollar store if I'm able to.
He does.
I still buy fast food for my grandparents whenever I can. I still do whatever I can for whoever I can. And there are people out there who are like, oh, those people who are living out on the streets, arrest them because it's making our cities look dirty. There are people out there who are saying like, oh, this person is here with an overstayed visa, deport them. They're saying that, oh, these people who are committing felonies and misdemeanors or whatever, if they're violent criminals, whatever, get them out of here. Yeah, that's great, but your president raped a woman.
Was that ever confirmed?
Yeah, he got convicted of it.
Did he really?
Yes.
Don't yell. I didn't know that. I never heard about that.
Yeah.
I would
It
imagine
was-
not many people wanted to talk about it.
That was one of the 35 felonies that he got convicted of. 35, 34, whatever it was. There are people out here who are praising, worshiping this orange rapist. This man who probably doesn't even live with his wife anymore. This man who made a mockery of the Bible by adding the Book of Dawn to it. This man who is extremely bigoted and xenophobic. This man who
What's xenophobic?
it's like racism, but in a general term. Like, you can be racist to Mexicans, but you can be xenophobic to all Hispanic people.
And which one are you again?
Anyway,
I've just never heard of that term.
yeah. I don't remember the specific point that I was on now. Thank you, but
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But it makes me incredibly angry that these people who say that they love God so much really don't.
And it makes me incredibly angry because, while on the same point for different reasons, at the end of the day, you're supposed to love fellow man. And I know I'm a hypocrite because I hate humanity, but I still go out of my way to help people. Like, have you known me to ever turn down helping someone?
No. Like, you probably wouldn't mind if somebody smacked their head on a shelf or something, but if that person got shot, you would probably do everything that you could to stop the bleeding.
And if I was a failure, I would kick myself for the rest of my life for it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a fine line between hating humanity and being cruel to your fellow man.
Yeah.
The world we live in is the latter.
Even if you don't believe, which I know a lot of people don't, and that's fine. What?
I was saying I don't believe.
Yeah. Even if you don't believe in God, at the very least, you should have
Compassion.
At least. Because when people say, and I've heard many people say that, well, the law is the law. If you do something illegal, then you should face consequences. 90% of those people voted for Donald Trump, and they obviously do not believe that. If you voted for Donald, I'm gonna say this. If you supported Donald Trump and voted for Donald Trump in 2016, I can forgive you. But if you voted for Donald Trump in 2020, I can forgive you, but you're still a bad person. But if you support him right now, while these riots, quote-unquote riots, are happening, and he's threatening big force against a very legal and protected activity, you are a piece of shit, and I want nothing to do with you.
Okay, bye. Just kidding. Oh, sorry, buddy.
I was gonna say, you do not. Fuck you.
I'm sorry, buddy. I stepped on his little leg. It felt like a chicken leg underneath my foot.
Oh, jeez. I can forgive a lot. And,
He can.
And I try in my forgiveness to be as Christ-like as possible. But for the people who are encouraging these ICE raids, encouraging the LAPD using close to lethal force, if they are okay with big force being used against a protected legal activity.
Which, again, I don't even understand what that means.
Protesting.
No, big force.
Big force, right.
Like, that could mean so many fucking different things, but it is not an actual term that has been used ever.
Yeah. If you support these actions, you are a bad person.
I agree.
And I do not want anything to do with you. I don't want to win you over to my side. I pray for your immortal soul, but I don't think there's any winning you over if you feel that way.
Like, I admit I wasn't for Trump, but I wasn't against him either. I was against the other side.
Yeah. And I totally understand that. I really do.
I was more so against the political party than the actual person.
Right.
And I was for the political party and not the actual person.
Yeah.
But now I'm just ashamed.
Yeah.
Like, I was never for him. I was never against him. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm against him now,
yeah,
obviously.
Well, I'm going to tell you the complete and utter truth. I was completely for him in 2016. Yeah. I loved the guy. He was fucking funny. He made fun of people. He made me laugh. He made liberals cry.
Yeah.
The copious amounts of clips of people actually shedding tears when he won in 2016 was goddamn hilarious.
It really was.
But unfortunately, the funny haha times have ended and things are getting serious, my friends.
Yeah. And again, I can't stress it enough. I wasn't for him. I wasn't against him. I didn't necessarily like him. Mm-hmm. But this, I would have rather had a liberal for a president. Hell, I would have rather had Hillary.
I don't know about Hillary, but I would have rather have had RFK. Like, brainworms and all, I would have taken RFK over Trump.
And I fucking hate Hillary with a passion.
Oh, I hate Hillary almost as much as I hate Trump, but for different reasons, of course.
What, she's got a pussy?
No, because she drinks the blood of children. I'm just kidding. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Maybe Bill Clinton. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, things are going down the shitter real quick, and all Trump wants is to get a rise out of these protesters, and if one or two things happen, either Trump is going to give the order to lethally attack, let's say. If Trump gives the order to lethally attack U.S. citizens, or if U.S. citizens get tired enough that they physically assault the police, that's it. That's game over. The shit's gonna go down. Maybe some physical violence will happen and then it dies down, but at this point I really doubt it. I'm telling you, people, if any lethal violence from the police or physical violence to the police by citizens happens, there's going to be a civil war, and there's not going to be any going back from it. Things are going to be very, very different.
I'm going to hope that everybody just chills the fuck out. Nothing happens.
Me too. I hope and pray that the protests stay peaceful. Mostly peaceful, of course.
Yeah. You're going to have one or two bad eggs in a protest. That's just nature.
Yeah.
And that's why people always associate protests with riots, because it seems like every time there's a protest, there is rioting. But the reality is, when there's protesting, rioters join in.
Yeah. People seize the opportunities to do bad shit.
And not get caught for it.
Yeah. I think in New York, people have already started looting, like, grocery stores and, like, Foot Lockers and stuff. Which is kind of funny. Fucking shoe stores. Of course, people are going to steal the vintage shoes and then resell them later. But,
do you think they'll specifically be, like, stolen during the NYC riot?
Maybe.
And, like, that will, like, boost the price somehow.
I don't know. But I just hope that it doesn't come down to it. I'm not going to hold my breath. But I hope nothing serious happens.
Yeah. In less than 2 days, we'll know.
Oh, right, because right. Well, they said over the weekend, so I'm not sure if it's Friday or Saturday. It's definitely not going to be Sunday, but I'm pretty sure it's Friday. Sorry that this is a little bit doom and gloom. Let's try and end it off on a happy note.
Honestly, I just feel like I have AIDS in my throat.
AIDS in your throat?
I meant to say cancer.
Okay.
AIDS might be better.
Have we done an episode since Mother's Day?
When was Mother's Day?
I don't remember. Anyway, for Mother's Day, JFK thought it would be fun to take his family to a little creek in Washington, D.C. and take a dip. But I think I've actually mentioned this on the podcast. Maybe. There's
Washington, D.C. has creeks?
I guess.
Where?
I don't know. But he thought it would be fun to take a dip in a creek in Washington, and there were signs all over the place saying like, "Hey, don't swim in this place. There's probably E. coli bacteria in it." And his whole family swam in dookie water. And it's really funny because people theorize that the type of brainworm that RFK has is the kind of brainworm that animals get that force them to like kill themselves. Because they're like, why the fuck would anybody in their right state of mind swim in dookie water? And they're like, it's the brainworm. They're like, get in the water, Robert, you don't understand. We need the dookie water.
Why is the brainworm Batman?
Robert, jump in the dookie water.
Okay, why
You'll
is
save Gotham if you jump in the dookie water.
it sounded like Scooby-Doo in the middle of that.
Okay.
It went from Batman, Scooby-Doo, then Batman.
Okay. So that's pretty funny. But also now, not to turn this into doom and gloom again, he's thinking about pushing dechlorinate peroxide or something like that through the FDA to get approved to help cure autism, and it's basically just a aerosolized version of chlorine, which is just fancy bleach. So that's super cool.
But at least you can drink chlorine.
In very small amounts.
I am living proof that is bullshit, my friend.
You just take a cup of pool water and chug it, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what I did when I lived in St. George.
Where's St. George?
Utah.
Oh.
On average, it was above 80 during the winter, even.
Oh.
Like the entire time I lived there.
Disgusting.
I wasn't there by choice. Trust me.
You know what's funny? That people in Britain don't have ACs, and they're complaining about the rising heat index over there because of global warming, which is fair. But they're saying that like 70 degrees is sweltering, blistering heat. And 70 degrees is sometimes, depending on if there's like wind, not even enough for me to turn on my AC. 70 is just getting to the point where I'm like, oh, it's a little hot in here.
Well, you got to remember, it doesn't typically get that hot over there.
Yeah, because at first they're like 45 degrees. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Then I'm like, oh, it's Celsius. Do some conversions. I'm like, that's only like 65, 70 degrees, something like that.
I almost moved to Britain, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, I was engaged to a girl over there.
Oh, that's right. You have told me about that.
And she did unhappy things.
Yeah.
To herself.
Yeah.
And now I'm stuck here.
This is supposed to be funny. Ha-ha, it's Morgan.
And now I'm stuck here. Walrus!
Walrus! The narwhal bacons!
What?
The narwhal bacons in the morning.
I like to choke the bacon in the morning too.
Sporks.
Why?
Lol, so random. XD. Rar means I love you in dinosaur.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Cuckoo, choo, the cow goes moo.
Isn't my job to be the random one?
Probably.
Because normally I am the random one.
Yeah.
I just don't feel it today.
Yeah. Okay. Funny ha-has. Thank you for joining us for another adventure into bullshit.
Hopefully we'll be able to upload still.
Hopefully.
If shit pops off, well...
We should have recorded on Audacity separately also. I just now thought of that.
Why?
So if anything, we can at least put up a still screen with our voices over it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if you see this, just know that we didn't fuck up.
If you see this, just know that I saved us from Nick's fuck up.
You're the one that set up. All you did was adjust the mics and the cameras.
Yeah, exactly. And you changed a bunch of settings.
I changed one setting.
2, at least.
No, the one setting that I attempted to change was already changed. So I only messed with one setting.
That's what they all say.
And that was only to increase the CPU amount to process the recordings, because I thought, like, well, if there's more CPU being used to process these recordings, maybe that means that there will be a higher likelihood of it not corrupting.
I really think it was just the SSD.
Probably. Either way, thank you for joining us. Remember to go down to the description and check out all of our links, such as our Redbubble.
Or our Dubby over at dubby.gg. Use code Taboo Tots, all caps, one word, for all your Boogaloo needs.
Yeah, fight the system with caffeine that's 10% off. Caffeine powder, inject it right into your cock vein, put it in your eyes.
Don't do that either. This is professional medical advice. Don't do that.
Keister it.
That is okay.
Like, actually make the Dubby drink, soak a tampon in it, shove it up your ass. That's right, shove it up your ugly ass. Get caffeine straight into your fucking vessels.
I would fucking love if there was like a fucking squadron of young adults just chugging Dubby and then charging the fucking military. I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
Do you remember that time that somebody killed a couple of people and they're like, shout out PewDiePie? What if somebody did that for us? To us? They're like, man, fuck guys! Shout out Taboo Tots! Be like, hey, we made it! Oh no.
we made it big!
Is that a real gun?
I didn't mean like this!
By the way, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
For legal purposes, these are all jokes. Haha, very funny. Check out the artist's Instagram. Why we call her Wi-Fi. She does good shit.
She really does. Like I can't give her enough praise.
Join us next time where I shove Buddy's head up Taco's ass.
Hopefully.
And then shove Taco's head up Morgan's ass. And then shove Morgan's head up my ass. And then I kill myself.
I'm pretty sure you've done this exact outro before.
Probably! Okay, love you guys, bye! It was pointing it right in my head. It was like, drive, motherfucker. Hello, Morgan, how are you?
I have AIDS in my tomatoes.
I found that is not a good thing. Where to? Oh, there's the thing. I got abused. Yeah.
It's gonna have more
Let's-
cuts than the emo kid in school.
How long have you been black? As I turn off the key and open the door, all I hear is, "Stay in the car!" And I'm like, "I fucking hate you! Oh my god!" Oh. Very cool.
Hey, that was a boom. That was a boomstick. Grandma's gonna be mad at you.
Fucking what?
And then 2 scoops of ice cream.